Hello there. Welcome to the stream. Tonight we're going to be discussing the 3 hour and 30-minute, more or less, video that was dropped approximately a week ago. Created
Yep.
by Seattle for Truth. It generally revolves around why gamers had to die, with links between Common Core, that of that of that of Microsoft and various other institutions who wish to see the gamer identity die in order to, and you might find this interesting, in order to see more serious games take control of the industry. Joining us tonight, we've got Firidan, the wonderful secret guy behind everything.
I also represent SEAL Team SITS as far as that video is concerned, in case you were wondering.
Yes. And we've also got...
He represents something.
We've also got nonservitor of the subs, Fuck Google.
Okay.
And we've got Gilius, who is another person who just hides behind everything and just spies.
Yes.
Had I seen you in here before? Or-
Yes.
Yes, you have.
Yes.
Yeah, you were the one who was here. You're the other last time.
Yes. About 2 weeks ago, I believe. Yes. 2 or 3 weeks.
Well, then this is the Shit Kia Says stream. So, is there anything, any shorter subtopics you'd like to have a go round on before we hit the big one?
Yeah.
Nope.
Firidan?
Not unless you want to talk drama. I don't want to talk drama. I've already been dealing with that shit for.
I agree with Theodred. Yeah, I agree with Theodred.
The drama is old news. I have no...
Yeah.
Well, at least on Reddit's side, yeah.
Yeah. The llama fell off a cliff and it's currently just dying slowly.
Yeah, hopefully. Anyway.
Bleeding loudly, though.
Yes.
God damn it.
Alright then, so let's move on to the big video. Let's get the link for it. And I'll just post it. Okay. There's the link. Alright, so how many of you have actually watched that video?
I've
I
watched it a time or two. I was not pleased with the presentation, but it happens.
Yeah.
You and Thedrin, did you make it all the way through?
Yes.
Yes, I went all the way through.
I have gone through once, and I consider that to be a great achievement.
I had to go through it at least twice.
For that, I pity you.
Yeah.
Anyway, mostly the video tends to revolve around, at least from the Gamergate relevance, how Gamergate plays into the gamification of education.
Have you spammed the stream anywhere?
Yes, I'm just spamming it on Twitter.
Okay. Why don't you poke it in Shit Kia Says at least?
I will.
I could also end up poking into burgers and fries if y'all want.
Oh, sure.
boy.
I mean, that.
Yeah. Don't forget to bring the mayo.
Alright, you got the link for me to show?
Yeah,
Here's
the
the
link.
link for this.
Let's put the link here.
Oh, that's the video. Oh.
That's the video. The
Man,
second link.
Fucking drowning in that shit.
Yeah. I need
Anyway.
the link for the YouTube thingy. Oh, there it
It's
is.
the second one.
Alright, let me link it in burgers and fries. There we go. There's my shilling.
Anyway, so only 3 of us have actually watched it. So let's start off here. And what were your thoughts, presentation, information-wise, all that
God,
sort
it
of
was a
stuff?
disorganized mess.
Mm,
That's putting it nicely.
yeah, I would.
The thing is, there is so much shit in that data dump that accompanied the video that even the 3-hour one only covers a tiny fraction of it. That's the frustration.
That's
That's the frustrating bit.
I would echo what like Theodred said. It's disorganized. It feels like the guy's skipping back and forth on points instead of being more cohesive. I think the other problem is that obviously said there's a lot of information, and that's a given. But I think the problem when it comes to a video presentation, like for example, when he's using clips, he's using a full 10-minute clip, going like, but the point you're making is based on maybe 2 or 3 minutes worth of that clip, and I don't know, like making someone watch 10-minute clip where they're like small talking about the weather. I'm like, you didn't have to have that in the clip. We don't need to see George Soros discussing the weather.
Yeah.
It just takes too long. It wasn't George Soros involved in that video, though.
I know. I just used his
I'm
name.
just saying. I want to make sure.
Yeah, you're right. It's good. Make the audience know George Soros was actually not in this video. For once, he's not involved with something.
Yeah.
Yeah, more or less. No, I would agree that it felt really disorganized, and there seemed to be leaps of logic as well. Jumping conclusion, is
and a lot of
the joke is a lot of those leaps in logic are covered in the data dump. He just
data dump, and also the fact that it's not organized properly. Leap of logics are fine if the person could see what the leap is, but because it's so disorganized, the leap is bigger, and then it's even more jarring to the audience.
It was not meant for most people. It was just meant for someone to draw upon, realize that, hey, there's a lot more data to be found. There's something for you to dig into. Gather a bunch for you.
Yeah. But that raises a good point, like a variation of the video that's obviously much more succinct that your random, no offense to people, just like dopey YouTuber picks up on, and you get the gist of it and be like, man, this looks pretty big. And then the stepping stones, then you have the bigger video, and then you have all the data dump that they could graduate. You got to start in kindergarten class first. When it's
pretty much.
Yeah.
And we're basically making a smaller version of it, sort of.
Yeah.
It's gonna focus on the femfrick narrative and why it's been blown the fuck out.
Yeah. I figure that might be of more interest to the people surrounding Gamergate, but that aside, I did find once you start parsing him and understanding how he works, the information was interesting enough, I found. Yeah. Especially for the references, because I've actually got a copy of the evidence file on my hard drive, and it's about 35 gigabytes worth of information. Now, a lot of that is videos, like gigabyte sized videos.
Yeah.
But a lot of it is also archived web pages and pictures and audio logs and stuff. And I just found that eventually I'm going to have to go and have a look through it, but I don't think he's actually wrong in some of what in a lot of what he states. It's just so poorly organized.
Yeah. It's also understanding the motives of the people involved. Obviously, not everyone part of this long chain of events, a gamification of video games, is doing it for political ideology. Some people are doing it just for fucking ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching.
Yeah, I'm just focusing on the industry graft angle myself.
Yeah. So as I said, it's a very big chain, and I said you're presenting this to someone, and they're going, "Are you telling me there's this conspiracy to turn us all into communists?" And it's like, no, some of them do, some of them are, but no, some people are just trying to make $1 million or $1 billion or $1 trillion.
Billion.
Yeah, exactly.
And thus, they're not trying to hide anything because that would be counterproductive to the whole making money, getting publicity. They don't see anything wrong with it.
Yeah,
exactly.
Exactly.
And legally, for all intents and purposes, in law, they're not breaking any laws unless they are. But generally speaking, there aren't breaking laws if they're doing it all properly. And yeah, it's sort of like you're going okay, but what's happening is that you got people who take advantage of this attempt. You got I would say you got these big cats who want to make money, and then you got these little mole rats who go man, we could use this to push our agenda, because it's an alliance of convenience.
No, and that's actually kind of the point I got from watching the video, is that not everyone involved is involved for the same reasons. As far as I can tell, the accusations against Bill Gates and all that, they're mostly in it just for money, but there are other people in there who want to really make ideological and political change,
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just remembering specifically this Fox conversation. They were talking about how, and this is somewhat American-centric, but how the Republicans seem to have adapted more easily to the internet age than...
That was from the 2006 video on Microsoft Research.
And that actually makes sense, because I said it's a misconception people have. I think this is what's so probably jarring for people watching, is that there's this popular pop culture that all the rich people like Republicans, and it's only the disenfranchised that are Democrats. It's no. both are sellouts to large companies. It's just different large companies. Yeah.
It's just a higher level competition. That's all it is.
Exactly. And it depends ultimately what suits their needs. For someone who wants to gamify education, yeah, the democratic approach is probably more beneficial because they're the ones pushing Common Core. If you want to gamify education, it's not that you hate the other party, it's just they don't want to gamify. They don't want to gamify
It's not in their
education.
interests.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
They have different.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Their
There, if
interests
you're big
play out.
oil, then you prefer the other guys if you're big oil. You know, 'cause
It
their
just
agenda.
depends on what you're trying to make money on.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. No, and you are right. It's I suspect that is part of the reason why it's interesting to Democrats, but I also think Democrats
Oh yeah, your point though. Yeah, sorry.
Democrats
Yeah.
Democrats seem to understand the value of getting them young. I suspect, as
Yeah.
bad as that sounds,
Yeah.
I think they understood that value of getting education, getting the kids when they're educated young, and they're more interested. You know, they're more likely to change because
Why mommy votes Democrat?
Oddly enough, it's my little, like, I like to call it my little momentary tinfoil moment. When I was like listening to that 2006 conference where they're talking, like, they're saying, like, it's funny because most of us go like, no, the Republicans are the one who are behind, and they're like talking about how the Republicans are reaching the youth better and they need to step up. And when I thought about that, it actually made sense because I realized something. When people think Republican, they say Republican, but what they probably mean is libertarians and Tea Party. And the Tea Party and libertarians have been pushing through the internet. Like the popularity of those movements are from the internet. So that's what they're referring to when they say Republican. You know, they're not referring to the old trap cons.
The traditional non-Ron Paul Republicans were not the ones pushing on the internet. They were the ones attacking the internet.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and even I remember that, and I'm not even, American.
Yeah.
I remember that shit.
So it's like people have to understand that when these people go like, oh, Republicans, they mean the Republicans as a whole. And, hey, as much as libertarians and Tea Partiers don't like being called Republicans, they are when it comes to the partisanship divide, To the Democrat, they're Republicans,
It's like a part of the old group, the whole group. Like, nope, you're right to you're a little more right than us, so therefore you're Republican.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah, and I just remember, and I found that Vox thing to be the most telling, to be honest.
Yeah.
From all of them, the Vox thing was the most telling,
especially in conjunction with them receiving money to make Polygon. Because they had received $750,000 to make a documentary about the making of Polygon.
Yeah. I was actually even chatting this with a friend saying that probably this was happening because this is, again, because I think liberal media was dominating education and mass media. And ironically, it's like they didn't realize people were losing confidence. Like, I don't know, I'm Canadian. And in Canada, we think news is entertainment, right? That's how seriously we take our news networks here in Canada. Even Russians that are pro-Putin don't believe what they hear on TV about Putin. Like, they're pro-Putin. They're like all 100% behind Putin, and they're like, I don't believe shit I hear on TV from my own president. It's like, wow, that's how high mass media skepticism is in our society. And I don't know how
definitely.
I
I can say outside of the BBC, which is more or less considered relatively high with British people, is mostly other media that serves us. We don't care for it. It's like, we don't trust you, And to be fair, there's a reputation. They have reputation.
And I think that conference is them recognizing, like, shit, we've been focusing so much on mass media and education that we didn't realize there's like thousands of young people tuning in on YouTube and suddenly getting exposed to like Rand Paul charismatically speaking, and it's like, shit, we completely missed that.
Well, what's this about, hey, Ron is the grandpa. Ron should have been far less charismatic, but he had far more charisma, not just for established voters, but for, first-time, college and late high school age people.
Yeah.
Much more than his son does.
Yeah.
Well, you only have to see the effect he's had on the internet to know that.
Yeah.
At least every time you see a happening, you're going to see an image of him in some fashion at this point.
Yeah. And, so you're kind of getting this bubbling, and I hate to say it, but it seems like these people are control freaks, and the thought that it's like, oh my god, the opposition is getting to our teenagers. And I think it was you, G-Man, who said, is like, no, we got to get them even younger. We got to get them in kindergarten class.
Kick.
Yeah, basically. Well, that's basically what it amounts to. Is
Yeah.
again, and you can see it right away. That there's been funding into the research for that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Like 7 minutes into the video, and you get people funding research on how you can use games to be effective political tools, either to change opinions or reinforce an existing, common narrative.
Yeah.
You know,
A lot of this stuff is old hat, really.
Yeah, very old hat.
old hat for a new media.
Yeah, this is so old hat. This is like Goebbels' old hat. So
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just adapting it to digital age, essentially. But the other interesting fact is how some perceive the common hardcore gamer and gamer overall identity to be resistant to this change, almost in the way of it. Like, so long as gamers existed, you could not have these educational games. You could not have these serious social issue touching games.
At least in North America.
Yes,
and
yes,
I think I know
that point should be made.
And I think I know why.
Oregon Trail was educational, but it wasn't good enough because we didn't show you how evil the white man was.
Exactly, but I think that's what it is. Is like I thought about that point because they're saying like these papers were saying like in Japan and Europe you could have educational games, but you can in North America. But it goes. I think it has to do with extremality. I think I can't believe I'm going to say this. I do think there's room for educational games in North America. The problem is that unlike in Japan and Europe where they're just doing it by the side, they don't care if they don't make a lot of profits. No, they want educational games to sell as well as Call of Duty, and it's this obsession about control and 100%. Like, if we're gonna have educational games, it has to beat Call of Duty in the charts.
They want more people to buy spinach than Snickers, and that's never going to happen.
Yeah.
That basically is what it amounts to. Is a collective bitch fest that people don't want to play games that aren't fun.
Yeah, and then
major companies aren't willing to make them for that reason. They're not willing to spend the money, to spend large amounts of money on a game that they know will flop. Especially when the stockholders are going to hold it against them and be like, okay, get out.
Yeah, it's in the case of Japan and Europe, they're okay making spinach. They're like, okay, you would be making spinach. People are going to buy it as often as spinach. We're cool with that. But that's not good enough for them. And I think this is probably why the culture, also the gamer culture in North America, is more resistant because they're trying to push it so hard. It's Newtonian law, like in motion here. For each force, there's an equal and opposite reaction. And yeah, if you're going to try to cram down, Gone Home down our throats, we're going to buy 2 copies of Call of Duty just to tell you to fuck off.
Yeah. No.
In that respect, I have to bring up the dreaded R word again. Most children grow out of the reactionary phase by the time they're out of adolescence.
Yeah.
But when you are, even after you are an adult, you find that there are a great many cultural forces and people in your life, at least trying to tell you what to do, and not just what to do, but what you should feel and how you should feel and think. Your first reaction is, for most people's natural reaction is like, screw you.
Yeah.
And you just and it's literally a reaction.
Yeah.
No, they actually do mention that in some of the extracts. Is basically there seems to be the harder you push it, especially in the research, is the more inclined people are to tell you to fuck off.
Yeah.
Even for people who aren't noted for being reactionary, they really just don't want to know. And there's nothing they can do to change about it.
And this is why I think they fall into the greed paradox, where they're like, we're not happy with 20%, we want 100%, but if we push for 100%, they fight back. So I think this is probably where the death of gamers comes in. They're going like, so what do we do? Well, we kill what's pushing back, No. If you're trying to punch the air, get the wall out of the way.
There's basically a good part of it is that, they can't have what they want until the identity is gone, and then well, look what you got.
Yeah, but isn't the identity of everything that's feeding the industry? So it's like me saying, like,
That implies that they actually care. As far as I can tell, they're looking. It's mentioned further on towards the end of the video is that basically AAA is being suggested towards the end of the video of being unreliable for pushing this kind of change.
yeah,
It's high risk, low
yeah.
reward as a
the indie,
strategy.
the infiltration of the indie.
Yeah, it's much more useful for indies. Give indies a lot less money but
Yeah,
produce very specific tools.
yeah.
It takes
But then
far,
game,
far less. It takes far less investment, and you get much more result.
exactly. Yeah,
Basically, you can chuck like 50 grand at them, and if you're a government organization,
yeah,
you're willing to put money towards this. 50
yeah.
grand.
But shouldn't they hate Steam then? Because then Steam allows some bunch of yahoos to create a game like Hatred and make money off of it, and then suddenly, boom, there goes your educational game going down the drain again.
Oh yeah,
It's
then
hatred
you
of
hate it.
Depression Quest.
Mm.
Yeah,
Progression Crest used to be a game
Worse.
that was sold.
yeah.
Up
Keep in
until-
mind,
Mm.
some of the people that are really the most vehement about this shit are like Synquist. They don't want the proper data to get out because a place like Steam, in addition to being able to sell it, they also
offer good data tools.
Yeah.
exactly. So you know how well these games are going.
Yeah.
Oh,
And now there's a
Demer-
refund policy just to put. I don't know. I'm so sick.
Just to rub salt in the wound.
I mean, Gabe Knoll does some really stupid things sometimes. So sometimes I think he's like a freedom fighter in disguise. Like at night, he puts on a fucking Batman outfit. It's like,
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think he's just a smart businessman. People
yeah.
are more inclined to make purchases if they know that they can get their money back on a bad purchase.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the only reason you have reason to fear this is because your stuff isn't that good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think to a degree they probably don't like Steam, but they probably just don't think there's a choice.
Yeah.
Because there isn't.
Yeah, basically, there isn't a choice. Steam is it, Origin, Uplay,
Yeah.
hmm,
they aren't really major powers.
you what?
People put up, people put up with them. They don't buy from them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Closest thing they've got is GOG, and I don't think GOG's going to be falling in line with them anytime soon.
Because GOG has what is like DRM free policy, and
Yeah.
it basically means the only games that could go on GOG is if you have a 100% DRM free version, and a lot of companies are reluctant to do that.
Yeah.
At least with their newer titles. Like, I mean, some of them might like eventually, after like 4 or 5 years, be like, "Yeah, I'm gonna GOG this title," But
Yeah, it's as you know, it's home to most of the older titles that don't have DRM built in, or at least have it removed if it is there.
Yeah.
No, and the other aspect is this concept again the concept that not enough women and girls are in gaming. They do mention that does come up relatively quickly in the video about before the first hour is out.
oh yeah, the
Is that's what you see, and I think that's actually kind of interesting as well because maybe girl gamers aren't exactly they aren't exactly common, but they're not rare either. They do exist.
they're so unrare. When you're at least playing World of Warcraft, you got to beat them away with a stick. Like seriously,
different
it's like, what the
games,
fuck?
different
Yeah.
games. With some games, they are very, very, very common.
Yeah.
But that was a big thing in the video was that there was this push to get more girls into gaming, and mentions of how they might need to change the culture in order to convince that.
You know what I hate about when they do that is that at the same time they trumpet that research where 48% of gamers are women, and you're like, okay, first of all, is there enough or not enough? And if there isn't enough, don't use the 48% stat. And if you're using the 48% stat, then they exist with the current gaming culture, so there's nothing need to be changed. It's like I'm looking at this like I've never seen so much circular logic in my life.
That's Lysenkoism for you.
Yeah.
They're basically trying to push their own particular narrative because the reality is they already know that there's already diversity in games. There's been diversity in games for at least the last decade, if not more.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Mhm.
And
Definitely.
it's
The
only
thing
getting better.
is,
When I was playing serious arcade games in the 80s, it wasn't just Pac-Man. You saw easily 25% to 33% girls at the arcade on the Tuesday night when they had 10
you know
second.
what actually happened for a while?
Hmm.
Freaking newspapers ended up demonizing the hobby for like a good decade or more. And then women were like, fuck this, I'm out of here. Because,
Yeah.
they don't like having to be shamed and ridiculed simply for
Yeah.
enjoying the hobby. They're
Exactly.
smarter than guys in that respect.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I like. Yeah, you're right. You mentioned the arcade with the girls, and I could totally like validate that. Both 18 plus and all age arcades had plenty of girls. I mean, not like we're not going to call it was like full of women, but it definitely had a good chunk. And heck, even when I was in high school, and I'm like old, like I'm really old.
Yeah.
So when I say high school, like dinosaurs walk the earth. And I remember, and when I was like, was it grade 7 or grade 8? There was a girl that was asking me to like. I just remember this. She clearly was asking me to lend me one of my Nintendo games to her because she couldn't afford it and she wants to play it. This is like a girl. This is like a normal girl. She wasn't nerdy or anything, but she's like, "Oh, you own that game? Can you lend it to me? My parents don't want to buy that game for me." And it's like, so it's a girl gamer. It's like totally normal girl gamer in like the fucking like 80s.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and even I've known those stories, and obviously I'm younger than most of you, but even I know those stories. Is I'd often overhear, girls saying, "Oh, do you want to go play some Call of Duty or FIFA or wherever common games, but still games."
Yeah.
Stuff that everyday guys would play.
Yeah.
And that's just it, really. Is you can't have both. You can't say there's not enough girls and then say, oh, half or over half of gamers are girls.
And then we need to change it to have more girls. I'm like going, for people who are obsessed with parody, you got it. So why do you need to change? No.
No, you are right there.
So I don't hear them complaining about not enough men are in crochet. So, wow.
And I suppose the other aspect is how unusual companies are trying to push this. A big theme of the video is the involvement of Microsoft and Microsoft's research arm and a foundation known as the MacArthur Foundation. Now, it's mildly tinfoily for my taste, but
Microsoft's simple.
yeah,
It's just the Common
Trying to
Core.
make it money.
yeah, it's money
They
basically.
tend to make money by licensing. That's what they do. And if they end up getting in the ground floor of the latest edutainment push, they'll stand to make billions.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
That's why they're more than willing to invest millions. Which
Yeah.
is why they invested a good $7 million during this controversy to Westdead. Why is this relevant to Gamergate? Because Kyle Orland's father works there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And that was the thing, is that maybe it could use a bit more of a graphical representation, but you just get links and links and links and links and links between all of these people in the video. These people were taught by these people who's a big part of this educational foundation who works for this.
I know you're asking for a good old-fashioned McCarthy flowchart.
Yes, pretty much.
That's how annoying it is. That's just how these things work. It's just flowcharts of all these people knowing each other and simply helping each other. It has no major, massive, grand conspiracy. It's just a bunch of friends helping friends.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Yeah, exactly.
This is
Exactly.
what people need to get into their thick skulls. It is friends helping friends. That is the entire point of it.
Yeah, rich people trying to get richer.
Yeah. It's like if you can't get behind
Really
that much
common
of it,
motive.
and you keep going into this particular thought-terminating cliche of conspiracy theory, then you're not going to get anywhere with these sort of things. You got to recognize that they're friends with each other. They help each other. You don't need legal fucking proof for this. You just need to acknowledge that they're friends helping friends.
Yeah.
Go from there and you see if they're doing
Yeah.
more than helping each other.
Yeah.
And then you can build a case. I'm
And
sorry.
like we mentioned, yeah, no problem. That was a very good speech you gave there.
Yeah.
And like we mentioned at the beginning of the video, is that oh fuck, now I forgot what I was going to say. But like is that a lot of what they're doing is not actually illegal. Some of it could be, obviously. I mean, human beings were innovative that way. But like a lot
Not
of it is
currently illegal, or at the time illegal for sure.
Exactly. You know, like Microsoft giving money to a certain foundation is not illegal. You'd be like, well, this foundation serves your purpose, and it's like, so, you know, find me one law book that says this is wrong. You know.
No.
Now it starts to get interesting. Now this guy poorly presented it,
Yeah.
but the second point of it, why he kept talking about Microsoft, was because their playbook involved the H-1B case. Like, they wanted to get cheaper labor. So what did they do? They ended up trying to see and do a legit lobbying effort for it. It failed, of course. So they ended up making their think tanks, and they got research results to see what they needed. So they then invested into a bunch of nonprofits who ended up saying that there's a problem with the women in tech and so on and so forth. Created that controversy. And so that Microsoft was there with its solution, like adding more H-1B visas and whatnot. And then the end result, of course, being that 500 employees are currently training their replacements because their replacements are too fucking incompetent to do their jobs.
Yeah.
And they get cheaper labor. Boom. That's as simple as that.
Yeah.
It's just a way to save money. It has nothing to do with ideology. It's just to make money.
Yeah, you're right. A lot of these people in this network. Yes, when you look at McIntosh, you're looking at a guy who's fucking want to be the next Lenin. Obviously, there's no hiding McIntosh. But a lot of these people are just basic. Even his mentor, I don't even think Ito is a Marxist. Yeah, I think Mimi Ito is just this girl.
She's a feminist. She's not a Marxist.
Exactly. Thank you. Yes, that's it. I was looking for it.
An example of a Marxist would be Anita Sarkeesian's mouthpiece. It's like, holy shit, she's been spouting Marxist rhetoric. It's crazy. The best part was when she openly said choice feminism, and she was bitching about that. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Even Ito is like, it's weird. Ito is this huge figure among them, and she's been saying for years, it's like, the sexism doesn't really affect things, the violence. Maybe there's links to aggression, but the research is still continuing. No one really knows, and you're like,
it's called momentary aggression. Someone who plays games might exhibit momentary aggression, but the minute they walk out,
who else gets those momentary aggressions? Pretty much any person that does anything remotely stressful.
Yes, thank you.
Or competitive.
Yeah. Exactly, but once you leave the room, that fades, and if anything, like
that's if you're sane, of course.
If you're sane, obviously. But like military research, like this is actually, I can't believe the Army did a good thing. They had a follow through with that experiment, with that showed the correlation that violent crime has been going down as gaming has been going up. But again, correlation is not causation.
Yes,
there was one military research that tried to see if there was a causation, and they believe there was. The reason why you don't see that research shown more often in media, because at the end, the military researcher says in the conclusion, I suspect the blaming of gaming is done by the media to divert attention away from real economic issues. So of course,
that'll do it.
Yeah. It's like every time they roll out a royal wedding over here, or a child happens, you just know. You just know
it was sweep other issues under the rug.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
like that one infamous rape case.
It's just everyone enjoys the holiday, but everyone knows they're doing it just to distract everyone else from the crippling hell that's coming.
Yeah. It's just so lovely, and I thought that's the interesting, and then you think Ito even mentions that she's like, she actually thinks gamers exhibit strong levels of cooperation and positive competitive behavior. If anything, Ito was like praising gamers.
Yeah,
if anything, she was the only sane one in the freaking group.
Yeah, she was honestly saying maybe these gamers aren't all bad, and you're just looking at it, and you just think, this is someone who is highly respected amongst that.
Now, here's the thing that makes that interesting, though. She's been saying all that, but Jonathan McIntosh decided to go around and make this false narrative anyways, even knowing what she said.
Yeah, exactly. That's what makes it interesting. Is
Because
that
not only did the science not bear out, even his own potential mentor and people that he's known for years is saying the opposite of what he's
it's-
trying to pull now.
It
yeah,
also-
exactly. And you just have to, and you just look at it, and you just have to think, well, if that's the case, then you clearly can't be believing in it because you believe the science. There must be for another reason.
Yeah, I think the only thing one could, if you want to nail Ito for anything, is she says like, "Oh, poo, I wish there was more girls in game." But that's not a bad thought. That's just someone
That's
expressing a
fine.
personal. Exactly, that's someone
The
having
only
a
reason
personal
that
opinion.
Ito is in that particular bit, or at least currently,
Yeah.
is at least as far as the video is concerned, is to establish Jonathan McIntosh is full of shit.
Yes,
Yeah,
and I
and
think
it
that's
does so very effectively because
Yeah.
because if I had a trusted mentor saying, all of this is bullshit, I wouldn't then just a couple of years down the line go around and turn around and say, oh, no, this is true, and in fact, actually, the science says we don't quite go far enough.
Keep in mind, beyond the video, she does have a little bit more impact, but that'll be for the future.
Like I'm sure like Ito is not a clean dove, but I mean, as I said, she's sane. She's not actually insane.
She's not a complete idiot like McIntosh.
Yeah,
so I'll
exactly.
give her that.
Yeah. And then but I think that's the important part of the video, though, is establishing that McIntosh is obviously an idiot. No one's going to deny that. By going like, how much of it is pure idiocy? Like, it could be like a game you play. You watch McIntosh make a tweet, and you're like, is this pure idiocy, or is he making this up to push his narrative? Because,
or is he trying to distract from someone else working?
Yeah, exactly. Because going like, he is an idiot, but he can't be that much of an idiot. As in his own mentor.
All of the time.
Exactly. On some
and,
level,
he might believe that he's trying to help that particular goal by being a polemic. That might be what he's trying for.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're basically being a bit of a tank.
Yeah.
If to use gamer lingo.
Yeah.
So who's Anita? The DPS?
Yeah, pretty much.
Basically.
She's been doing that. Holy crap. Oh, yeah.
So he Quinn's the debuffer.
Nah, she's neither. She's currently, no, in all honesty.
She's Leroy Jenkins.
She's the one in the pug that no one wanted.
Yes.
Pretty much.
She's the
she ended up causing a whole bunch of guild drama, and then whenever the time came, she screwed it up. Drew all the aggro and is currently causing a party wipe.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's her.
Leroy Jenkins. And what's worse, she refuses to even accept any goddamn blame.
Well,
now, one thing that is important to realize is Zoe knew Anita before even Wizard Chan incident, let alone Gamergate.
Long-term knowledge, then.
Yeah. They might not have been super duper close friends, but they knew each other beforehand and became friends. So that's a little thing to keep in mind.
Yeah. Well, it goes back to what you said earlier. It's a lot of this is friends, and it's like people have to get out of their heads. Like, no, they don't. Like people go like, "Oh, this sounds like a conspiracy theory." It's like, no, friends, and like people have to even look at their own lives. Honestly, look at your life. How many times have someone at their job cooperate with 2 other 3 members of their coworkers to get something done in spite of another coworker? That is a conspiracy, a very small, pathetic conspiracy.
But that's the sort of thing that's a conspiracy. It's an everyday thing.
Yeah.
So a lot of it's out in the open. It's just simply friends helping friends. It's not a big shadowy thing. Just keep that in mind and you'll be okay.
Yeah.
That's why I hate people trying to use conspiracy theory. The reason they're using that is it's called a thought-terminating cliche. It is designed so you will not think further on it. It's designed to simply cause an emotional reaction, which is shutting it down. It's like, nope, I don't want to think about it. Nope, I don't feel like it. I'm just going to shut it down. It's conspiracy theory.
Well,
or no, you're a Republican, or no, you're a Democrat, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, thought terminating. Yeah, I didn't know the official lingo for it, but that's pretty much what it is. It's causing the person to stop thinking. I mean, it's the whole concept of shaming culture too. When they call you a misogynist, the whole idea is that it makes you stop because you're like, no, I'm not a misogynist.
You stop.
That's the entire point of it. It's to distract you.
Yeah.
And while they're doing that, and whenever you're defending yourself, they'll continue on the attack.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, yes, you are. Here's why you're a misogynist. Because your friend is a misogynist. Or you've got internalized misogyny if you're a woman, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
I've actually got a personal story about that. About 2 months into Gamergate, I was following Aaron Dembo, who helped make Sword of the Stars. So I think she did some of the lore for it. So
she did all the lore for it.
Yes, she did all the lore. it's been a while since I've actually thought about this particular instance. But basically, what happened is I saw she was talking about Gamergate, and I was just saying, I don't know how I got into it, but I remember saying to her, she basically called me a misogynist. I was like, no.
Oh, but if you're curious how it started, is that she was trying to air quote defend. She was doing a concern troll. She was basically defending Gamergate, but saying, "But guys, you have to realize sexism and misogyny is real in gaming." But you shouldn't be called all of like she was fucking Pixie Jennying it up.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
And the point is I said, I got this video introduced to me by a friend, and she said, no, your friend must be the misogynist then, or you are, or you're an idiot.
Yeah.
But the blame game never ends. Either you are, or your friend is, or your friend's friend. But somewhere along the line, the blame is found.
Well, one thing she confirms is that Internet Aristocrat was the pure misogynist, and then going like either your friend is also a patsy and he passed it on to you not knowing what he's doing, or he's the misogynist along with Internet Aristocrat corrupting you. And it's like she's insulting you and insulting your friend potentially,
as well as denying individual agency, anyways.
Exactly.
Yes.
And I could handle and it just knocked me when it happened, not because I give a shit what she thinks, but it knocked me that she was implying that I was unable to notice these behaviors in my friend, and that we're friends simply because I'm this thing, but simply because I watch a particular piece of media and believe it's relatively interesting and accurate.
And actually, I think Thedra nailed it when he said lack of individual agency.
Yes.
I think that's why there's a cultural pushback happening. And it's happening everywhere. Like, you just have to turn on the TV. Not mass media, obviously. That's just going to give you bullshit. But if you just turn on anything that is not mass media, you're going to notice people are pushing back. That's because telling someone they have no individual agency, especially in the Western civilization culture, is like the worst thing you could do. Like, it doesn't sit well with anyone. They don't want to accept it. They're like, fuck you. I have personal agency. I'm going to prove it to you. I'm going to teabag you. I'm
going to do all sorts of retarded shit to do it, too. And then they're going to try and use that reactionary bullshit to be like, yeah, this is why we need to clamp down even tighter, which is going to prompt, of course, more reactionary bullshit. Of course, right. That's really going to work.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly how it works.
Oh.
And, of course, over time, if people aren't careful, they normalize that shit. So you got to keep an eye on that bullshit. And what they do is they try and boil the frog.
Oh, yeah. But didn't it actually been proven that that experiment is bullshit because they lobotomized the frog first? So there you go. You got to know the details. You're right. Your anecdote. Pay attention to the detail. They're trying to boil the frog. You point out you gave it a lobotomy first.
Yeah. Didn't they? Yeah, they basically cut all of its nerve endings from the spine downwards.
Yeah. Which basically means if you try to quickly boil a frog, even with the lobotomy, it still jumped out. So
yeah.
You have to boil it slowly while it's lobotomized.
You boil it slowly, and it'll just sit there and die. But you do it too fast, they will jump out.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I think that's why people have to pay attention to the details, because the details usually quickly reveal the bullshit.
The shenanigans.
Yeah.
Yeah. And actually, you can kind of also see a mild pushback even within their own internal camps, planned or not. Just to go a bit off topic, did you have a look at that Vox article recently about how, a professor is basically scared of his students?
Yep.
The liberal ones, and I think Arkbach, or however you pronounce his name,
David
had a really...
Thank
you.
Like that.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
Had a really interesting analysis saying perhaps the fact that he was predicted that Gamergate would have been completely engulfed by the right, but it hasn't happened to his surprise.
Yeah.
I'm not that surprised, but still, he suspected he would end up being completely engulfed by the right, and the overall conclusion he reached is that the right's failure to push the political narrative with Gamergate probably gave the left enough time to start cutting off some of the stupider aspects of this culture. Saying, oh, no, those are the fringe, no, those are the fringe. You know.
Whenever some of them are directly participating in it.
Yeah.
Ezra Klein.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that always goes unsaid.
Not to piss off lefties though, but what I'm seeing is that but a lot of lefties, some of the crazier members are starting to be higher up on their hierarchy, Hillary, and and they're not going to be able to pretend that this is just fringe elements of their party.
They can't end up being demonized as a whole, but if Hillary gets up going in there, oh boy, that's going to be fun. It's going to be a fucking slaughter.
Yeah. You already have Obama spewing the wage gap and rape statistic on national
Which
TV.
Is bullshit.
I know. I actually was joking with this with a Republican news writer, going like, "Man, you know what? Russia doesn't even need to do propaganda against us. They just show the shit we have, and that just convinces their own people we're fucked."
Yeah.
We're doing their propaganda for them.
Exactly.
You can just see a couple in Moscow. Did you hear 1 out of 5 American women are raped? Holy shit! Why aren't we invading America and freeing those women?
Yup. And even someone with any decent amount of sense knows that statistic is utter horseshit.
Yeah. Oh god, a Chinese minister, China. If a Chinese is calling you out on it, you know you're fucking it up. And the Chinese are saying like, either that stat is true and America's fucked up, or the president is willing to lie on national TV. What the hell? And you're getting called that by a provincial governor of China. What the?
That's sad. They're known for propaganda.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
And they do a double take on you, like, with it?
No, and I suppose just getting back to the video that's the one of the other interesting aspects of the video is that all of that plays into the politics element of it. There seems to be those who are interested in the politics, those who are interested in the money making aspect, and those who just kind of want to see the world burn.
Yeah.
Amongst their little group that's pushing for these changes. Obviously Microsoft and all that is pushing for it because it'll make money, but Macintosh, it doesn't. The video doesn't focus so much on Macintosh and so on, but it does point out that he's been around pushing for these educational reforms for a good long while.
Yeah.
But no. What I do find funny though is that this video has not been going on for all that long, but I think we've probably covered most of the points in less time than the video itself. Which is another sign it was poorly edited.
Yeah. But it said, like, they definitely needed a version that would call, like, your kid. I don't want to be disrespectful when I say it that way, but, like, kindergarten entry.
You need a part that the average person can understand without having to think.
Yeah.
That's hard.
It is hard. I mean, like some YouTubers do it. I mean, people look like I've noticed this with some YouTubers. They start out with like 40, 45-minute videos, and they quickly truncate it down to 20 minutes. And if 20 minutes is too short, they would have like a 3-parter or something. They quickly realize that no, you want to hold the attention of your audience, because if you lose it, then what you're saying after is pointless.
Exactly.
For me, watching the 3 hours, I had to watch in like 2 or 3 parts because I just. Not that I have a short attention span, it's just it wasn't that terribly interesting, so I kind of just wanted to do other things. I wanted to go play video games, or I wanted
hit
to
your
go
nuts with a hammer.
Or I had other stuff to do.
Well, ideally, a shorter video, which will touch on at least some of that bigger video, will be hitting Monday, ideally.
Oh, so there'll be another video coming out. What's this particular topic on?
It's going to be breaking down simply what's in the bigger video into a smaller one so that people can actually understand what the fuck is being said.
Yeah.
And since no one else was stepping up to the plates, my team stuck doing it.
Please tell me they're editing and focusing a bit more, like not jumping between topics.
It's going to be a little bit better, yes. It's not going to be perfect. Because
I can handle not it being perfect.
It's going to at least not be nearly as long. The plan is going to be 20 minutes or less.
Yeah, 20 minutes or less.
3 hours. It's not near. I think that's an understatement saying nearly as long.
Yeah. 20 minutes is about right for the long. I think that's about what Total Biscuit does as his videos. About 20 minutes.
Yeah.
20, 30
Yeah.
minutes for his longest
20.
videos. An hour at the outside.
Saigon seems to use the same one. I know Goodfellow used to do 40 minutes. He's like been lately dropping them down to 20. That is the magic number, you know.
Yeah, even Scott Manley of Kerbal Space Program does it about 20 to 30 minutes long unless he's doing a live stream, you know?
I hate giving credit to mainstream media, but I think they figured out the magic formula with sitcoms. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Also, fuck sitcoms.
Yeah, I know. That's why I regretted saying it, but it had to be said.
You can't really argue with that. Unless it's high drama, you can't really get away with having an hour long.
Yeah.
So, no.
Yeah.
And to be honest, you should just go even shorter. Just go micro drama.
No, we're not talking about the drama.
Hey, the original the original Clone Wars cartoon. They were like, what was it? It was 3 minutes long, but they spent 3 minutes explaining what happened in the previous episode, which was 3 minutes long. I'm like,
Okay.
what?
No, it was about 10 minutes long. Half of it was spent recapping.
Yeah, it's so dumb. It's so dumb.
It's like I'm looking at the recap. I'm like, that's actually the episode. They just put more music and cut out some lines, but it's the same.
It demonstrates how shit they are at explaining.
Yeah. But no, I think that'll be interesting, and I look forward to watching it on Monday. Because if there's anything that video was in need of, it was in need of dire editing in order to convince more people to pay attention. Because I think they'd find it interesting, especially the gamers are dead aspect.
Yeah.
Because it goes a long way to explaining where that came from. Because as awesome as Zoe Quinn is, I don't think it came from her specifically. A desire to defend her.
Oh God. Yeah. No. The defense of her probably comes from, again, Thedron says it, friends defending friends. So what's happening is, sure, maybe on the higher up of the chain of friendships, they don't give a rat's ass. But the problem is that Zoe Quinn has a lot on the ground floor friends, and they were going like, they were like, oh no.
Oh, she's got a little more than just on the ground friends.
Obviously.
Pointing out the obvious.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, comparing it to someone like Bill Gates, it is relatively on the ground.
Well, yeah.
Speaking relativistically.
Fair enough.
But yeah, she definitely has friends up here and there, and just it. But
One other thing I'm going to point out: she is still relevant to Gamergate, and any idiots that say she's not relevant and should be entirely ignored need to be smacked upside the head.
Yeah, she is relevant. Yeah, exactly.
I'm just going to say, even if she is relevant, she should not be the focus.
Yes,
but people don't understand the distinction.
Yeah.
They're going from one extreme to the other, and it's like, no, you got to do anything you can do it. No, just got to remember, use her as an example of how shit these people are.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was about to say when you said that she's still relevant. I was about to say, yeah, but people should stop obsessing about her on the other hand. But you're right, it's people have this sort of binary extreme where it's like,
makes me want to smack them upside the head. It's nuance, motherfucker. Do you know it?
Yeah.
No, this is the internet. They don't do nuance here.
Yeah. She's not the queen bee, but she's not just like a side note either,
She's not a peon either.
No.
Yeah.
Considering that she's a mod on fucking Gaza yourself, and that particular subreddit has organized brigading at least once involving the Jesse Singal thread, she's not simply doing nothing.
Yeah, well, oh god. Don't even get started on Reddit. I know.
Pointing that particular instance out, which a lot seem to have forgotten. Mr. Jesse Singal bitching and moaning about to ethics whenever he's a journalister, as well as the fucker trying to pretend like he set up a viral bit on a month-old thread at the goddamn time. Bullshit.
Oh god, that was stupid.
Actually, there's one thing I want to about the video. It kind of talks a bit about it near the end, and I think that's an important part. Is that it seems that at least with what happened with Gamergate is that their agenda. If you look at them pushing a certain agenda, it didn't work 100%. Like the the five global stage of propaganda.
Yeah,
It's like
failure to launch.
Yeah, they tripped
failed
on
at the last part.
Yeah.
They didn't shame the public properly.
Yeah,
Because the public simply just had enough.
Yeah, it's basically two half. One half of the public doesn't give a rat's ass. I would call them the mundanes. Right? Regular people who don't pay attention to gaming. They don't even want to pay attention to the gaming. You're not going to get them morally outraged at gaming. And then the ones who care about gaming are the ones who basically said "fuck you."
Which is why there's going to be a really nasty division in the coming years as a result of their shenanigans.
Well, I suspect that the culture was already somewhat dividing prior to it. Now they've just accelerated it.
Yeah. But I have a weird feeling this is sort of like meta, like off the video a bit. But considering how these, like at least the ideological aspect of these lines, they obviously don't want to stop pushing. They keep pushing and they keep pushing. Like, dude, they're arresting people in New York City for manspreading. And I have a feeling that even mundanes are going to start lifting their middle fingers eventually.
They're beginning to already because of shit like Shirtstorm.
Yeah.
Oh, just a reminder for the newbies as far as Shirtstorm is concerned. Idiot that started Shirtstorm, member of Game Journal Pros, member of Weird Twitter, Mr. Chris Plants. Fucking retard.
It should be noted that Fusion has a thing about the goons. And not incorrectly either, to be fair.
Yeah.
Because quite a few of the people that are shitting on you are members of that particular grouping. Something awful as well as the derivatives. Though usually Weird Twitter in this case.
Yeah.
Weird Twitter being exactly as described and quite mystifying.
It's where they met up. That's like basically it's a group of people like-minded met up, took over something, and created a sort of identity. For themselves.
Well, there's one of their subgroupings is well known. Shit Reddit says.
Yeah.
And it's considered the most cancerous of subs upon that particular platform.
Yeah.
Cancer being Reddit speak basically for being completely shitty and useless.
Man. But yeah, it's as I said, their plans obviously tripped on the last step, and as I said, and I'm starting to see like Shirtgate, manspreading, and the more it seems like this is a random video where a guy's talking where he's saying SJWs are practically the modern Jacobins of the French Revolution, and they're gonna double down. Like this is what people are going like, oh, this is gonna blow over. No, they'll keep doubling down.
Until people are sick of them.
Yeah. And that's what happened in the French Revolution. They all killed him and put Napoleon as emperor.
Sounds about right.
They ensured about another 200 years worth of imperial rule.
Thanks.
All under the guise of being a democratic revolution.
The joke about it is that very early in the French Revolution, I'll keep this short because it's off topic, very early in the French Revolution, they actually tried to have a proper constitution, and it got destroyed.
I can believe it.
Then you got that whole liberté fête. That wasn't the original attempt to having a true democratic constitution. That was them after blowing up the first one. That might have actually worked, oddly enough.
Yeah. No.
So the Jacobin effect, and that's what you see with the SJWs. That's basically why I thought it was relevant. Is they're like Jacobins. They're just going to keep doubling down. Political correctness. What the hell? Political correctness blows up in their face. We got to be more politically correct. And if anyone wants to see real life examples of this going over the top, just Google Sweden and enjoy what you read.
Don't get me started. Sweden, yes.
Because it's literally, oh God, our women are getting raped. What should we do? We shouldn't send them to what? It's like they're just psychologically stressed. That's why they're raping our women. And it's like, what?
The most recent thing I've seen is Sweden's Most Wanted, and it's basically all just Muslims. You know, all of them, like the top 20. Not, you
Yeah.
know, I don't want to make a thing of it, but you're like,
Yeah. And then here's the funny part. The Swedish response to that is they need to put more funding in psychiatric help and helping these people adjust to society. And it's like, wait,
Good luck.
yeah, it's like, wait a minute, that's your solution to a crime problem? You know, I'm not for a police state. I'm just saying you don't solve it by just giving them more hugs.
No.
You know,
no.
the
But,
correct response is responsible response. You know, and something logical and rational. But the thing is, again, double down. That's what I mean to say. Is the double down approach to everything they do. Yeah.
pretty much. Pretty much. You can see it as well with, you can see it as well, you know, the true SJWs versus the ones that are just in it opportunistically. You know,
Yeah.
because you'll notice Miles. Oh God, please make sure I'm saying the right one.
Yeah. Ian
Before you
Miles
even
Chung.
begin, Ian Miles Cheong is not an SJW. He never was an
Yeah.
SJW. He never
Yeah.
will be an SJW. What he is a shill. He's
An
just in it for
opportunist.
money. He's an opportunist. He's in it just to make a quick buck.
Yeah.
Basically.
Now he's wearing the mantle of what I call classical SJW, which is basically the SJWs from the 80s and 90s and 70s.
Yeah.
But that's he's doing because that's for him. Like, because keep in mind, he can't just flip turncoat 100% on the dime, right? It's not going to be believable. So he's like no,
Unlike Anita.
Yeah, exactly. So for him, it's like he's going like, and I actually do accept his apology, but just not because I believe him and like him now. I'm just going like, if he apologizes and actually doesn't act like a twat from this point on, I don't fucking care how much of a shill he is. He's a shill.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I don't care. You know,
I mean, recognize
if I'm
that
going
he
to
is
go
what
to
he
his
is.
site on
But
that.
as long as he is doing his freaking job, I don't give a fuck.
yes, exactly. You know.
Yeah. But you will see like the opportunists being divided from the true
Yeah.
believers. You
Yeah.
know, you can see it. You can sort of see it with like Randy. Randy. You know, I'm
Is
not
she an
sure. If
opportunist or a true believer? I have no.
The
I think,
opportunist, complete opportunist. Come on, you didn't watch the Based Randy video?
yeah, you're right. You're right. Opportunist.
There's-
Yeah.
Sorry.
At this
She's a
point,
true believer to opportunism.
She's a true believer in her bald bullshit.
Yeah, exactly.
I think she's bitten off more shit than she could chew with the Anne Rice situation. Idiot.
Oh no, that was moving. Using that as an excuse to move on to more of recent news. Yeah, the Anne Rice thing is great. We've seen Leia Alexander crawl out of whatever hole she's been hiding in, saying, "Ha ha ha! I've got more Twitter followers than you." To a woman who has a what is it worth like 50 million?
Yeah. Yeah, I love her. I have more Twitter. Like, how I quote this to one of my friends is like, so they're going up against Interview with a Vampire Anne Rice. You know, it's like, what the hell, guys?
Wait, they gotta do what they gotta do. They think that'll give them a bit of controversy and some free views. Oh, they'll get some views. They just won't like what people are saying as a result of it.
Yeah.
Oh no, and you can relate this back to the whole, you know, people who are bitching about the Steam refund thing. Is, you know, people are also bitching about the Steam requiring you to play 5 minutes on your game.
I'm like,
Before you can even review it.
yeah, and
Yeah.
it's like that's actually intelligent. Seems like, you know, you gotta be an owner of the game, and you know the best way to confirm that, because remember, there's different ways of having a game key. Is that if you played it for 5 minutes, you've initialized the game. So they'll be like, we're not gonna be too picky, but at least we want you to be, you know, a registered user of the game. And they're like bitching about that. It's like, you know, what the hell? Like, wait, like, you know, I don't want to like accuse anyone, so I'll make it as neutral as possible. But you're going like, so they want the power to vote up and vote down games without playing them. And just people listening to this, just think of someone with that ability, like what it means. It's called Metacritic user review scores. You know, that's what it's fucking called.
Basically.
Yeah.
And I've never seen a Metacritic review score that, if it had any hint of controversy, wasn't all zeros or all tens.
Yeah. The Steam setup was actually clever. I hate to admit it, but it was actually a clever setup. And then you watch this girl going like, well, you know, she's complaining. She basically starts complaining about her two-hour return. It's like, what about me? I make games that could be finished in 2 hours. This screws me over. This is just as bad as I have to play a game for 5 minutes to review it. And I'm like, wow, two birds, one stone. You know,
Yeah.
your one comment admits just how bad you are in two fronts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's just not much else to say on that particular incident.
Oh
It
man.
is,
No,
one
no.
thing I wish is that Lei just fades into irrelevant. Little
Mm.
Miss
To be honest,
Beans are dead.
I think she needs it. You
What's
know,
her new website called? Outsider, Orbit, or
Off-world.
Offworld? Yeah.
Off world, yeah.
I wish we could just do
Subsidiary
that.
of Boing Boing,
Yeah.
which is failing miserably.
Hmm.
To give you an idea of just how miserable it's failing, Ralph's site is doing better than hers.
Oh God, yeah. When we talk about these people being friends with each other, good example is the article about this being good news was written by the same man that was on that MSNBC presentation that was presenting Brianna Wu. I forgot his name, Mark something, and basically even the newscaster openly says, and he goes like, "My friend Brianna Wu," you know,
Face palm.
yeah, you know,
Mm-hmm.
And then people wonder why they're steadily tuning into it less and less, and
yeah,
why they're getting dominated by other ones. Like, there
yeah.
you go. I still think
Mm-hmm.
it's funny how Fox is just outright trumping left-wing media.
Yeah.
Why? Because they have a little bit less bias in their news, as fucked up as that is to say.
They have less bias, and the bias they do have, they confess to it. And this is what I tell people: being
It's like,
honestly biased is better than being dishonestly biased.
by far.
Yeah.
The thing is, I still hate Fox News.
Obviously, because
But I hate
Yeah.
MSNBC too.
yeah,
Yeah, it's
Mm-hmm.
just trash. I wish I still had that particular infographic. You know, the one where it shows how many people are, how much opinion pieces are in comparisons, like how much bullshit, and MSNBC just topped them all by leaps and bounds.
yeah.
Mm. For
Pretty good.
someone who hasn't had the express pleasure, yeah, tell me how much bullshit it is.
They're the ones that are pushing the war on women threat narrative, in case you're wondering.
Ah, so complete retards then.
Complete
Yeah.
retards. They're the ones that have been pushing it.
Mm-hmm.
It isn't the right wing that's stupid enough to push that one. Not that one. They might do some really retarded shit.
It's kind of funny because we're getting a bit of that in Canada too. Except, thank God, it's not taking as much hold. Canadians are slightly more self-aware of their own politics. So we have our version of the Democrat Party saying like, we want to make abortions legal, and people are like, it's been for like over a decade, you idiot. It's like, legalize what? And it's like, oh, the other guy wants to take it away. You mean the other guy who actually expelled all the anti-abortion people from his party? He's going to suddenly criminalize it? And it's like,
Jeez.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, don't try your American politics in Canada. Now, it's not about Canadians being better or smarter. It's just the question is, we're a different culture. We see things differently. You can't just take the script notes of Hillary Clinton and think it's going to work on the Canadian population. Just like in reverse, I don't think Obama or Jeb Bush or Ron Paul should start using Canadian political crib notes for his platform or their platform. It probably wouldn't work either.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We need to stop the oil signs in Calgary. Everyone just looks at Hillary. What the fuck is Calgary? Yeah.
Well, luckily in Britain, that's not going to be our problem because we're not going to see a left-wing government for at least 10 years. Probably longer, considering how fucked up they are at the moment.
For us, our deciding is this year. For us in 2015, we're going to have a federal election, and this is where we're going to see. And people pretty much predict that if Harper can maintain a majority government, it's done. Like, we're probably going to be a conservative government for like God knows until like Harper accidentally blows up the planet or something.
Yeah, we're basically looking like we're going to get at least 2-3 terms of Tory governance, because of how, the Lib Dems don't exist as a party. They've only got 8 seats, down from 56. The Labour isn't going to get a leader for at least a year, and they've got to claw back 56 seats from the SNP, and the SNP wants stuff that Labour can't give.
Yeah.
So, barring something monumentous, no left-wing government is going to end up in power for at least 10 years.
Yeah.
So yeah, our problem is not going to be a war on women; it's going to be a war on the poor.
It's for us. What happens is that we have for us, the Liberals, their only seat of power, the one province they could pull in a couple of provinces, but they're not enough. The one province that could decide it for them will be divided between our version of Labour, the NDP, our version of the Lib Dem, which are more like Labour at this point, the Liberals, and something we have. That province is Quebec, which has their version of the SNP. They're completely disvested. The Bloc Québécois is non-existent. But things have been being so stupid lately. People are expecting a return of the Bloc. You know. And that's splitting the vote, right? All these people voting on these parties are splitting it, so it basically means in other parts of the country the Conservatives come in nice and comfy, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, basically.
I just don't want a guy who's going to reinstitute laws we already have. It's the war on women. I hate this war on women narrative. It's like, I hate the fact that our Liberal Party's trying to bring it to Canada. It's like there's a war on women, and people are just rolling their eyes. Like, you realize Canada scored #1 on human rights for women treatment on the world. You know, it's like, what the fuck are you prancing about? You know, there's a war on women. You know, you crazy, mate?
Yeah, it's like, oh, there's a war on women, and the evidence is based on anonymous death threats.
Yeah. And actually, that's the thing. Even if America didn't, like, score #1, I don't even think, like, even I know America doesn't have a war on women. That's bullshit. Like, everyone fucking knows this bullshit, even in the U.S., you know?
It's like, come on now. It's like, are there issues involving people being treated like shit on the internet? Yes. The joke, of course, being everyone gets treated like shit equally.
Yeah.
I can't remember the amount of times
They
I've
get
been
treated
called
like
a
shit
faggot.
in different ways, though. And the thing is, at least according to the Pew polls that last time, women take it to heart more.
Yeah.
That's the
That's
difference.
that's the difference.
It's about the same amount of abuse, but women take it to heart more.
Actually, I don't want to be mean, but I've seen some, like, women these ones who take it to heart, not the ones that have been hardened on World of Warcraft. But I mean, I've seen some women like, this is the type of harassment I get in an MMO, and I look at the harassment, I'm like, wow, I would consider that a good day.
Yeah.
You know, I personally
Because that's media reporting for you. It's like,
Yeah.
whenever they pump that through your head over and over and over again, you eventually believe it. It's global style propaganda. It's annoying as fuck.
I know.
I'll take, for instance, those idiots that are trying to say that Adam Baldwin coined Gamergate. Here's a little tip: he didn't.
Yeah.
That's a funny joke.
Hmm.
Let's see, not you.
Who said
It was a political thing, in case you were wondering, back in the day.
Well, Watergate.
No, not Watergate.
Oh, the other one.
Freaking
Okay.
beforehand.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I know that.
Oh, are you talking about the whole 38 Studios thing?
No.
Yeah.
Come on. Come on, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, don't you hate it when that happens? You're trying to search something up on the internet and it's just it's like, no, it wants to hide from you.
Here it is. Gotcha. I'll link you guys to it, and then I will talk a little bit about it.
No, so, yeah, I've mostly just, I've noticed that more and more often onto my Facebook feeds, you know, stuff that I generally keep really unpolitical.
It is 38 Studios, but that's not the original one.
Yeah. Oh, right. Is there an even earlier?
Yes.
Oh, is it the World of Warcraft thing?
It's the World of Warcraft thing.
Oh, when the senator... Oh, I remember this. The senator was basically being shat on because she played World of Warcraft, and there was these really cringy posters saying she's a level something troll
Level
in...
68 orc rogue girl.
Yeah, and would you trust her managing
She's
your
a
money?
gamer.
I
because
trust her
she's a
twice as much in Senate now because of that.
Yeah.
Fucking whore
Hundreds
for
of
life.
hours playing in her online world as an orc assassination rogue named Santiago. Vote no. Yeah.
Wow, what Wow. Seriously, people, because she did that? Come on, you're just jealous you didn't ERP with her. That's the
Yeah,
reason.
this was from 2012. It was a
Oh,
big ass
I
smear
remember.
campaign. All shit ended up hitting. It was all sorts of ugliness. The joke, of course, she won anyways.
Yeah.
She got all the gamers voting like, holy shit. Yeah.
Apparently, the result was this. During
Yeah.
the 2012 Maine general election, Lashowitz's competitor, Republican Thomason Martin Jr., had won 6 out of 7 municipalities in District 25 of Maine, leaving only one left, Waterville, Lashowitz's hometown and last bastion of her election campaign. Sounds familiar? Despite having nothing but her own hometown to count on, this one municipality single-handedly won Laschwitz her Senate seat by a landslide difference. Senator Laschwitz is still in office at the time of writing. A gamer triumphed over smearing propaganda that day.
Yeah, I remember that. Oh, I remember. Yeah,
Well,
that
you saw
was
a lot of
great.
you got a lot of bullshit. You get this like obviously not Gamergate, but the whole thing you get this like people saying like, "Oh my god, discover my lawyer is a gamer. Shit, I'm gonna lose this trial." And it's like, oh, when people
Well,
think like that, I'm like, God.
no,
It's like,
if
grow
you,
up.
yeah.
It's
I
like
just,
saying someone's a reader of books.
Yeah.
mhm.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
though I do hope if he is a lawyer that he does just play Ace Attorney,
Yeah.
Okay.
because if he doesn't, it will be very disappointing.
Yeah, boy. That's funny.
Yeah. But no, I remember that, and I remember that the 38 Studios is when when it happened second time, and the first time was that, and the third time was obviously the current fiasco.
Yep.
Yeah. And this one ain't dying. Oh God, I had this my infamous Digra friend, which I like to bring up sometimes. He was all like telling me in November like Gamergate's gonna be dead in December, and by March we'd be completely forgotten. Like we'd be, and he says we'd be as forgotten as the endings of Mass Effect 3. And I'm like, no, the endings of Mass Effect 3 are not forgotten.
Every time someone brings up Mass Effect, I remember the endings.
Yeah, and no, and no, Gamergate is not dead in December, and Gamergate is not forgotten by March. Yeah,
No.
I feel like finding him and just walking up to him and be like, "So, man, I wonder what happened to that Gamergate thing, you know?"
Mhm. No, and we've even got the SPJ thing coming up.
Yeah.
A bit of overt focus on ethics, but should be good anyway.
Yeah,
That
let
makes
them do
sense.
their thing.
Yeah,
You know as well as I do, it's going to be a slug match after like the first hour or so.
Of course it is. And,
People are
you
trying
know,
to pretend it's going to be all ethics, and they're stupid. Flat
Yeah.
of
out.
course not. It's,
Ah.
you know, we don't even know
Oh,
who's
the other
going.
thing, idiots that are trying to pretend like it's end all be all.
No.
It's not your end goal. Any idiots that are saying it, that includes
You're gonna be
Sargon that ended up trying to
destroyed.
imply that.
You're gonna destroy yourself if
You're
you
being
think
an
it's
idiot
the end.
there.
It's not an endgame. I think by default, at least in the public sphere, anyone who's paying attention, Gamergate would win. Because let's be fair, it would start like it's fine if they want to start pure ethics, because it should start on pure ethics. It's the SPJ. You know, you start on topic, as they say.
Yeah.
But then what's going to happen? It's going to devolve into the ideology debate. Except what's good is that at this point, it doesn't matter what side someone is ideologically. You already established these people are crooked. So they really boil down to is like, we believe we could be crooked because of this ideology. And that's just going to look bad. It's just, I actually wanted to devolve into an ideological debate because I want people watching it or paying attention to it be like, holy shit, so these people believe ideology justifies unethical behavior. And that's going to make
There
the
you
ideology
go.
in question look bad.
There are
Pretty
no
much.
unacceptable targets, just
Yeah.
unacceptable targets.
Make sure you bring up shit like Movie Blob,
Yeah.
Yeah, but though it is kind
A
of.
Man in Black, Mr.
Mhm.
J. Allen, supposedly, although it's actually not J. Allen.
Mhm.
What's it like SJW Reptile, one of the other ones that tend to be occasionally very annoying?
Reptilian, yeah.
Yeah.
And can't forget a girl in real
course.
life.
One thing about SJW Reptilian, that person had at least helped chase one person off of Twitter themselves. The Claire Schumann, remember?
Mhm.
As far as Girl IRL, he is currently wiped his account and went to a different account. I don't know which one it is. I don't really care. But I'm just pointing that particular one out.
Mhm. Yeah. But
Now this is what makes it interesting. So in the beginning, there was just a third-party troll. Reality, that person was a member of Weird Twitter and had talked to quite a few of the journalists involved.
hmm
So, yeah.
I'm wondering who they're gonna send, because they won't reveal it. Yeah, SPJ.
Because you know what they're gonna send who it ends tonight. Shoot. No.
Who knows what it's gonna send?
Actually, I don't even think it matters who they send. Like, I don't want to like play up the whole group thing mentality, but it doesn't matter who the fuck they send. They're gonna be parroting the same lines. Like,
I
we
hope
are
they
the
send
one.
no
Kind of a
one.
given.
Well, yeah.
I hope they no show.
Oh no, they send cause.
Someone with previous experience.
Yeah, that's what's gonna
Well,
happen. That's what's gonna happen.
That's a
Yeah, go.
possibility.
No one's gonna show officially, and then it would literally be like a invited SJW that shows up, and the SPJ would be like, "We're the only one claiming to show up for them." So,
Hey, it's
you're in.
Okie dokie.
All right, okay, you're in.
All right. No, let's just go over. Let's go and have a look at the top news as of late
All
from the past week.
right.
Yeah,
You mean gaming news, right?
not particularly though. I can do that.
All right. I don't think people are interested in hearing about the escalation of Chinese violence in the South Sea.
Well, they might be, but I don't know if they.
It's like,
I don't know that much about it. No. Let's see. The most of the most recent stuff has been basically Witcher 3 shit. It's been Witcher 3 drama.
Yeah.
You know, about all of that stuff and about. It's been really weird. It's like they really want. I think it's just because it's a really popular game. They want to bash the shit out of it.
It's a really popular game that doesn't fit their agenda. And
Mhm.
again, and it's not like Witcher 3 is trying to do the opposite either. Witcher 3 is just, a grim, dark fantasy setting that rolls its own momentum, and for them, that's not acceptable. It didn't kiss the ring of the Pope, of the feminist Pope.
Indeed. No, and another thing that's worth pointing out is that, obviously
Okay.
hatred.
Yeah.
My bad, I had forgotten about the Jaina I'd put in.
Ah.
The feminist, yeah. But yeah, the hatred. But yeah, it said Witcher 3 is said the lack of the feminist Pope kissing. And by the way, people who listen, like, obviously we could see with Joss Whedon why you never kiss the feminist Pope's ring, because it doesn't grant you protection.
Yeah, I feel bad for Joss, but I'm like, he made his bed.
Yeah. It's a ring you could never kiss. There's no, like, everyone says it. You cannot appease. There's no appeasement with these people.
I wouldn't call
Oh, there we go. His mic cut out.
Did my mic cut out?
Yeah.
Yes, it did.
God damn it. Why does it keep cutting out?
Mm.
Junk. Anyways,
You were saying?
I was saying that I wouldn't even call a good chunk of these idiots feminists.
Yeah.
They're saying that they're feminists.
Yeah.
Because the
it's-
joke, of course, being that they're employing a Mott and Bailey strategy. You know? And the reality is, a lot of these jokers that are saying they're feminists aren't feminists. Because they're going from working with women's issues for the equality of men and women to working for women's issues. For the supremacy of women. That's the problem they're having. It's like, hello, there's a little difference between what feminism is supposed to be and what you're doing.
Yeah, but by that definition, 90% of, well, okay, obviously I can't say exact numbers, so take that as just a figure of speech, people listening. But
The
the majority
vast
of feminists
majority
of them are
in
not
the media.
feminist.
Yeah, exactly. That's the sad joke. It's like the people that they're pushing to the top aren't really feminists.
Yeah.
At least by any reasonable definition.
Yeah.
Unless, of
think
course, you want to
they're
redefine
reliable,
racism and
however.
sexism and all that, which you have.
They're reliable, however, is what I would say. They
Yeah.
know how they're gonna act.
Yeah.
Be right back.
Obviously, okay. No, and as we were saying, it's like a large part of what their issue seems to be is with the game is that it seems to be popular,
Yeah. Well,
basically.
it's popularity, yes. Popularity. You notice that they, like how often you see like even hatred is somewhat popular because of the media at Circus of God. But like, how many games allow you to do the same thing that Postal does? Not Postal, sorry, Hatred. Wow, I'm mixing them all up because they all look the same to me. No offense to people who like any of these given games, but it's like, but they will pick on the one with the bigger popularity.
They do pick on the one with the bigger popularity.
Why did GTA 5 have to have a female protagonist? It's the same thing. Like, look where they're asking for a female protag. Do they ask it for like some rinky-dink, did they ask it for Contra or something?
No, they asked it for one of the most popular games of the time.
Yeah. I think it's that's actually what gets me annoyed. Why, like even before I realized the corruption and the collusion and the ideological pumping and thumping and all that, even before then, even in the early days when I was still naive, I always rubbed me the wrong way that they were going after always the popular ones, and I'm like, why? Why? And it's like, oh, they set the standard, but why? Because they're popular. It's like that's a circular argument.
Basically.
Yeah.
No, anyway, other top news stories include being labelled as pro-Gamergate if you support consumer rights. Because Nerdcubed got that accusation.
Wait,
And
whoa, back up. What do they mean?
basically, people were accusing Nerdcubed of being told that they support Gamergate because they talk about consumer rights in the industry they work in.
It depends what you define by consumer rights. Like this is going to probably ruffle some feathers of people listening. You could be anti DLC, you could not be a fan of pre-order, but those are not consumer right. Those are consumer choices. A consumer choice and a consumer right is not the same thing. Very sorry to break some bubbles here. And you're going like, well, I think DLC is bad. Fine, that's your prerogative. But it's not
All right.
it's not an issue of
Welcome
consumer
back.
rights. Welcome back. You know.
Yeah, you are right.
You know.
All right. Sorry about the delay.
No problem.
Real
No
life
problem.
hit.
Yeah.
As always.
Like I think the most absurd one I heard related to someone saying like Gamergate is about quality of product. No, quality of product is not a consumer right. People have to learn the difference between consumer rights and consumer choice. Yeah.
God knows I'd love quality to be a consumer right. It ain't gonna happen anytime soon.
Yeah, because that's not a free market anymore. And let's be fair, do you really not want a free market in gaming? Imagine the government and bureaucracies oversee what game is considered complete or fun. Right? I just want people to imagine that fantasy land, right? The state bureau, the political bureau determines what game is fun. Yeah, yeah.
No thank you.
Oddly enough, so people know that's what the SGWs want.
And I suppose before we wrap up,
Hmm.
yeah, obviously there's been a shit ton of drama recently, hasn't there? And I've been telling you about it, Gilius,
Yes.
and Viridin has been having to deal with it.
Yeah.
And not, and so, what's your thoughts, if I may ask?
Go first.
Well, I think he's AFK again.
Oh, I thought he was back. Oh, my thought. You mean which drama? There's more than one. If you're referring to the little drama, well, I handled at least the first part. The people who were barking about consumer rights, and I'm going like, people have to understand what is the difference. And at least when it comes to GamerGate, it's at least has two prongs. There's obviously the ethics and journalism. It's the right that the people who report on games report it to the people who buy the games. They're not reporting it for the benefits of another group, which are not gamers. And that is you being shat on as a consumer. Another example of being shat on as a consumer is someone trying to push political ideologies and using whatever connections in the industry to push games to be a certain way. So instead of like having, like, let's say EA makes, I'll use EA because they're the bad guys all the time. EA decides to make a game. You want EA, it's EA, it's going to be a bad game, but you want the game to be bad because EA fucks it up, not because someone went and told EA this is what the game should be. And then if you take a company you like imagine a Blizzard fan, do you want someone to be telling Blizzard how to make the game, and then Blizzard capitulates to these demands, effectively making the game less good for you? This is probably why people hate the infusion of the political ideology. Yes, that is, you could say that's a consumer air quote right. But as I said, when you get to DLC, pre-orders, that's not consumer right. Those are market practices and consumer choices.
Yeah, unfortunately. As much as I would love to have these being consumer rights, it just isn't going to happen if you want a
free market.
Yeah.
And the free market is what's giving you that game you really enjoy at the moment. It's the fact that, as dumb as it sounds, like people's like, yeah, but like we have good because there's so much shit. That's why you have good. It's literally the crucible of experimentation. Yeah, it's a crucible of welcome back. It's a crucible of experimentation. And yes, you're going to have a ton of shit. You're going to have a ton of terrible business practices, but it's from those the competition does the right call, and they're the ones who excel. If you try to mandate proper behavior, you get a command economy, and if anyone wants an example of what a command economy is, Google the USSR. Even China is moving away from a command economy, if people are curious. Yeah. Ooh, I just injected geopolitics into gaming talk.
Idiot.
Well, you could always mention the competing, financial sectors, and why TPP is being pushed in, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
No, God, TPP just sounds like a shit fest. I mean,
yeah. It's basically a slugfest between the corporations and government there.
Yeah.
Basically. And I know over here that a lot of the opposition comes from the fact that, as you well know, is that Britain has one of the most, socialized healthcare systems in the world. Even by European standard, it's weird, because it's funded out of general taxation rather than any particular finance, and a lot of people are worried that they'll start suing governments because of that. But no, you are right. If we're gonna go that route, there's a lot to talk about. No.
Yeah.
So outside of the drama, I don't think there's been too much happening. I mean, so there's been lots of interesting shit about The Witcher 3, but it's more or less covered in 2 short sentences. Drama bait.
Yeah. Drama bait, author is an idiot as usual.
Basically.
He doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about.
Who doesn't know who's talking about? I missed the name.
Oh, God. I should know, but honestly...
God. Damn it, I can't remember it. Let me see. Witcher 3... was it Polygon? Yeah, it was Polygon.
It was Polygon. It was Polygon and the follow-up article.
Yes.
Let's see, review, I think it was.
It was the review, and then there was an article defending the review.
I think we'll just go with the review and see who wrote it. Of course, our good old friend, Arthur G's.
Of course it was.
Mr. I think Bayonetta is too sexy, so I will dock 2 points from it. Yet I end up going to Suicide Girls and whatnot with my own account.
Yes.
Fucking hypocrite.
That's glorious. I laugh every time I hear that.
Yeah, it's like, come on.
Yeah, the latest thing I've been hearing is that Slav people have no mythology, and
You're kidding me.
Oh no, he's used that as a defense. I have seen the screenshots.
Are they fucking retarded?
Yeah, basically. But that
would be like trying to say the Japanese people have no mythology.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
wait until it conflicts with their
We
political
Whether
heritage.
Aboriginal people have no mythology. Of course
Yeah.
they have fucking mythology. They have
Yeah.
beliefs.
Yeah. The
The reason they've been saying it is basically because of the Catholic Church basically going around destroying it and how a lot of it was passed verbally.
Yeah.
Is that none of it's written down?
yeah. You know the
So,
whole thing.
Are they
How-
trying to do the modern equivalent of a book burning? With
Yeah.
just make it all erasure and
Yeah, but
Yeah.
the whole like Slav culture doesn't exist. The only two people that said that were the ones trying to wipe them out, Hitler, and the one who's trying to convince the world that it doesn't exist, but not because he's denying it. He's absorbing it into a bigger culture called Russia, Putin. So you have a Russian nationalist who's trying to say like all Slavs are. We know why he's saying that. He's basically saying you're Polish, you're Czechoslovakian, you're Ukrainian. You might as well just join the Russian Federation and be done with it. So it's an ultra nationalist and an that is for them, and an ultra nationalist that is against them. Those are the only two people that have said that.
Yeah, pretty much. Beyond the idiots, that is.
Yeah.
I don't think they ever considered that though. They never considered that, which is great.
Yeah. That is just mind-boggling.
So outside of Witcher bait, no, it's mostly just Witcher bait stuff about the FTC revising guidelines.
Which is good because it adds
Major.
further disclosure for the YouTubers as well.
And additional disclosure about
In
affiliate
addition
links
to that,
and paid.
they have to say it in the video.
Yes.
That's key.
Yes, that is a great change.
Yeah. And in this stream, they have to be able to have their disclosure readily available. Oh, that's going to be a fun one. Oh, we could just do it once at the beginning of a 10-hour stream.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah,
You have to have it readily available at all points.
Yeah.
it's great. It is absolutely great.
You know what that means? Sponsored by.
Just in the.
Or have the visual indicators like sponsored by it's in the bottom. You know the drill.
Yeah.
That's what I'd be doing. Yeah, shoot.
No, but outside of that, I don't think there's too much more that happened this week. It's been a really quiet week, drama aside.
Yeah, it's been pretty much drama.
Hmm.
Don't even get me
Annoyingly
started on
so.
the drama.
No, we're not going to
In the room.
We're not going to talk about the drama because on both Reddit and 8chan. At least,
Y'all know Reddit. I know 8chan.
Yeah.
yeah. I'll give you an 8chan. At least from my perspective, it looks like he's just going completely full retard.
Yeah. I've seen worse. I've seen.
Yeah.
I have actually seen worse. That's what's sad. Oh boy. Well, it's gonna resolve one way or another,
Basically.
and people will figure out what they want. And while they're doing that, they are wasting time at circle jerking in one form or another. It's like, oh, I'm the best, or I don't give a fuck. I just want to get shit done.
Yeah.
It's like, figure out what you need to get done. Get done.
Yeah.
I've been asking this shit for like 9 months now. You sons of bitches. You've been circle jerking that long.
Yeah, and if they don't feel like they could get something done, then at least be emotional support for those that do get things done. You know. You know, everyone needs a little coach in the back, you know, just comforting them. You know, like this is I get it. Not everyone wants to bust their balls, and fine, then don't get in the ways of those that do. And heck, back up and support the ones that do actually bust their balls. Because, you know, I could tell you, someone who sometimes does have to bust their balls, you kind of like having a pat on the back, you know. But it's not circle jerking. There's a difference between patting someone on the back and circle jerking them, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's
getting
mainly if it involves a reach around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, so I don't think there's anything more to really talk about unless the chat wants to throw something. Wants to throw anything at us. But yeah, it's been pretty quiet, and I kind of like that. It's nice. It just, you know, it's relaxed.
Yeah.
Anyway, so all right. So seeing as nothing's coming up, I think we'll call that an end. Thanks for joining
Okay.
me. It's a shame that non-servitor had to bow out relatively quickly, but he had very important things to do. So I think we'll just call that an end.
Okay, then.
Okay.
We could gab any other time. You know the drill.
Yeah, I know.
Mhm.
All right. Bye bye.